Inside the elven forest, two hot chicks were losing a tickle fight against a group of ugly, disgusting bastards. But as the maid's face was shoved into the ground, a knight flashed from behind, slashing the men down with a single strike. This overpowered dickhead was Ark, who woke up under a tree after being reincarnated into this world, with a broken twilight cloak and the wyvern sword, even possessing the skills from all the classes in the game instead of one. But although he was able to cast the wyvern slash spell to destroy all the trees before his eyes, and even unleash Hell's Inferno to burn the forest down, the fat ass realized using those powers made him hungry, so before he would starve, he unleashed his gate ability to teleport to the town, but almost isekai'd himself by hugging the ground. However, he managed to use his dimensional movability spell to flash across the world, but using all this mana drained his water points. So as he tried drinking water from a river, he realized that he was an ugly, disgusting skeleton, and knew that all of the townspeople would kill him as soon as they found out. Even so, he decided to disguise himself and snuck around through the alleys, until he found the hottest elf girl of his dreams, but she ignored his ugly ass and walked away. All around the town, he began searching for her, until he arrived at the mercenary guild, asking the guildmaster where she might have disappeared off to. However, the guildmaster rejects his desperate requests, and informs him that he must kill various monsters before getting any money or information. The guildmaster feels bad that such a mighty knight has to do these quests, and believes that he's doing all of this to find the mother of his sick child. Little did they know that the only thing noble about this knight is how he will royally fuck the elf with his Excalibur. After killing all the boars and completing his quests, he found a group of bandits had ambushed the soldiers, and the men began ripping off their clothes from the girls. But as the princess screamed for her maid with massive cannons, Ark realized that he was the only skeleton in this world, and would not allow on another person to get a bone. So as the princess was about to be given a bone, Ark teleported behind the man, and slashed three of them in half. As the others realized what just happened, they started running away, but Ark unleashed his ultimate ability, Wyvern Slash, burning the bandits out of existence. The two chicks thanked him for saving them, but as he began escorting them to find the medicinal herbs they were looking for, he saw a nine-tailed fox that was injured. When he got closer, it tried biting him, but he began healing it using his monk magic, allowing it to finally walk without feeling pain. So when the cute fox began following him around, he decided to name it Ponta. As they continued their journey, they finally found the white wisteria tree. But when Marker ran closer to it, a massive basilisk appeared from the darkness, but before it would crush her down, Ark teleported her away, and narrowly blocked the poison fog that the lizard was able to shoot. While trying to think of how to defeat his enemy, the monster began unleashing its claw attack that he barely managed to block, until it nearly crushed him down. But before its long tongue would eat him out, he teleported out of its path. However, Ark was beginning to grow tired from blocking all of its attacks, but realized that it was about to unleash its ultimate ability, and when it casted its petrification spell, Ark was able to use his divine shield that neutralized all status effects to nullify the attack. Even so, the basilisk continued attacking him and used its poisonous fog to end his miserable life. But Ark managed to find the opening to unleash his S-rank ability, and defeated it with a single blow. Even Ark was shocked by how powerful his attack was, but noticed something was off about the monster. And as he approached the ring on the lizard, it disintegrated before his eyes. Just then, a massive boar appeared, so Ark decided to kill it to gift it to the rest of the villagers. At the village, Mar's mommy milker Shona saw her daughter and was glad that she was still alive, crying as she wondered why she left the village without telling her. However, Marker revealed the flowers she gathered to cure her illness, so as she smiled and hugged her daughter, she asked Ark to come over so she can lick the meat off his bone. After Shona swallowed the best dinner in her life, Marka and her sister call him their new dad, and give him a gift before he goes to get milk like their other dad.
Oh shit, here we go again.
A few weeks passed, and Ark still searching for elf that took his breath away. He enters a cave where he heard bandits had kidnapped elves, and find a pile of gold piled up for him, but doesn't find the elves that were captured. Ark leaves with his newfound treasure, going to head to town for the meal, but the elf finally appears and is ready to destroy him. She slashes towards him, ready to murder him in his spot, but he narrowly dodges her attacks. Her cloak reveals her face, and he realizes that he's finally seen the love of his life again. Ark attempts to talk this out with her, but she calls him a bandit, as she prepares her final launch to end him. Pona comes out, which stops her in her tracks. Mrs. Giant Plot asks him how he managed to befriend the Nine Tails, and Ark tells her that he healed Ponto when it was injured. This causes the elf girl to apologize for thinking he was a bandit, and tells him that she came here to rescue the elves that were being hunted, but the elves are already gone, and Ark tells her that he destroyed all the bandits. She prepares to leave, but Ark tries to think of a way to develop this plot into a plot.
Stop it. Get some help.
Sorry, I meant Ark tries to think of a way to work with her, but she denies him because he's just a human knight and runs away from him. While this encounter discourages him from being able to feel the plot of his life, he knows that no gamer can ever pass up the chance to help a beautiful elf and strengthens his resolve. The rest of his nights are spent wondering how he could ever find her again, but the hard bones in his body won't let him give up. The next day, he sets off to the elf forest where there could be a chance of finding her, but the Ninetales warns him that there's enemies around. An elf runs by, and a bandit captures her before showing her off to his leader. He stabs her in the leg, telling her to beg him for mercy, but even after she begs, he continues stabbing her. Ark sneaks around, seeing that those elves are being trapped behind a cell and their lives are being threatened. But just as he is about to act against this, Mrs. Giant Cannonballs launches in, destroying the men in her way. The bandits all gang up on her, but she slashes one of their arms and rushes forward to destroy the rest of the ones standing in front of her. She strikes fear into them, and continues running around until she slashes every single bandit in her way. The bandit leader stops her, telling her that he will kill the small elves if she continues resisting. He tells her that he will just examine her merchandise, and as isekai plot is about to develop, Ark flashes and launches the leader towards the tree, saving the elves and impressing the love of his life. After all of the bandits are completely destroyed, Mrs. Nuclear wonders how to find the key to free the kids, but Ark destroys the lock with his hand to free them. One of the kids, however, has a cursed collar attached to her that sucks her life away. She tells Ark that she wouldn't be able to destroy them, but Ark uses his magical abilities to free her from the curse and heals all of her wounds. Hot elf girl realizes that this guy is no ordinary knight, and wonders what else his bone can do to her in. Sorry, I meant the damsel in distress begins falling in love with her knight in shining armor because this is a wholesome and family-friendly show. Ark continues to play with the kids to relieve them of the traumatic experience they just had, and Mrs. Giant Blaster introduces herself as Arian. As he finally enjoys some alone time with her, a bird comes to warn her that their elf headquarters are being invaded, and Arian asks him if she could hire him to help her. Although she's never trusted a human in her entire life, she decided to give him a chance and trust him. Since he saved all the other elves, after teleporting her back near the Ladle River, she realized that he possessed the forbidden long teleportation skill, and wondered how he was able to cast it without an incantation. By the time they arrived at the bridge, he used his teleportation magic to sneak them into an alley, so Arian revealed that they would be meeting her lifelong friend. Hearing those words, Ark realized he was about to meet another hot elf chick. But when he turned around, he realized it was a disgusting Russian moron, crushing all of his dreams. With the window being their only way inside, Arian made sure that the roof is empty, and tried to get in. As they look around the building, they see a few of the mercenaries were killed while they were sleeping, and realized that there was a murderer among them. So they decided to split up, and while Ark teleported across the hallway, he flashed into another room that was filled with dead bodies, but a ninja nearly killed him in that moment. However, when she saw the Ninetale sitting on top of him, she realized that he must be a good man for befriending a spirit creature, and apologized for attacking him. Before leaving, she decided to give him the map of the underground to find the elves he was looking for, and revealed there were 2 elves that were also trapped in the mansion, hoping this would help him complete his mission as she leapt away. However, Ark wondered what the she was talking about, because the only mission he had was to now find that hot cat ninja girl. After showing Arian and Donka the outline of the prison cells, Arian began wondering how he gained this classified information. But before he could come up with a lie to distract her ugly ass, a group of bandits broke into the room. However, Arian burned them alive with a single strike, killing the ugly disgusting losers in that instant, and promising that she'll erase anyone who stands in her way. A few minutes later, they found the group of elves inside their cells, so Ark stretched the iron bars apart to free the girls, allowing them to finally feel safe after enduring all their torture. So he teleported them outside, but after noticing the curse seal on their neck, Ark activated his uncursed magic to free them. This was a spell only the archdukes were able to cast. Donka realized, but he promised to take care of the girls while they invaded the mansion. So Ark held on to Arian, and used his dimensional move to teleport towards the final two elves. In the distance, the ninja girl wishes to meet him again one day. Inside the Lord's manor, two elves are tied to a bed that are about to be isekai plotted. The ugly man rubs a white cream on the elves' belly, and she makes plot-filled noises. Outside the building, Ark continues teleporting throughout the air to reach the top of the manor, and attacks the guards that are defending at the top of the building. The rest of the soldiers in the manor search for him, but he hides in plain sight to avoid causing more casualties. A man comes to knock on the door of the owner, warning him that invaders are coming that want to get rid of him. As he says his last words, Ark and Arian blow through the door, informing him that they're here to rescue the elves. They destroy the owner's plot-making abilities, and save the girls. As Ark began interrogating the slave dealer, he realized that there was a hidden room in the wall, but Arian was giving the Lord the treatment he was about to give. At the same time, the two elves were about to give him 1,000 years of pain, until a group of soldiers appeared in the room to stop them. However, Arian unleashed her ultimate spell to burn all of them alive with a single blow, while Ark began stealing all of the Lord's gold. But when Arian wondered what he was doing, the Top G revealed that they would be able to rebuild their slave trade business with this gold. So he was taking all of it to destroy their business. Hearing those words, she bought his lies just like Andrew Tate taught him to lie to women, allowing him to have enough gold to finally buy a Bugatti instead of staying a disgusting Lamborghini. So now that he was a millionaire, she asked him if he could come to her elf village to spend the night with her. But although he realized this is exactly what every nerd loser that hasn't showered in a week would want, she revealed that he needed to meet her father before she could call him daddy. However, Ark revealed that he could never show his face, because she may turn her sword against him when she discovers the truth. But when she swore that she wouldn't, he wondered if he could really choose this path to stay with her, but decided to take off his mask. When she asked him how he became this ugly, Ark revealed that he woke up and found himself cursed, attempting to hide the fact that he was isekai'd. But seeing how big his bone was, she decided to accept him as he is, and thought there might be a way to cure his curse. A few days later, as they were getting close to the village, Ark's dumb tried teleporting away, but fell inside a hole that was bigger than Arian's. However, they managed to finally find clean water to fill their empty bottles, and after managing to capture a fish from the water, they spent all night cooking their meal. Just then, Arian's fat belly began growling, so Ark realized that it would be impossible for a single fish to feed all the weight on her chest, so he decided to go and catch a boar for her. But while he was gone, she saw Ponto sleeping, and although she wanted to pet him very badly, she decided to restrain herself so the poor victim could sleep peacefully. However, the menace woke up anyway, and by the time Mark came back with a boar, he saw that she was rubbing Ponto on her massive chest. Although Ark tried to ignore the cringe he just witnessed, he wished he could have been the one feeling those nice massive. The following morning, after passing through the forest, they finally arrived at the elven village gates. So as Arian announced her presence, the gate opened at that instant. Inside the village, the elder introduced himself as Dylan, and revealed that Arian was their daughter. Her mother Glenys lied to Ark about her age, so that he would become interested in her. Dylan began wondering why they attacked Lord Triton's mansion. He thought their action would start a war, and wondered why they couldn't leave without burning up the place. But Ark decided to explain everything by the time he was done. Dylan thought they weren't guilty after all, but revealed that he must explain everything to the other elders. So Arian offered to follow him for support, and Dylan told her that they would be leaving in the morning. The next day, by the time Ark woke up, Glenys told him that they left already, but after walking throughout the city, she asked him to spar against her. So at evening, when they arrived inside the forest, she told him that she intends to test his long sword. She was hoping to see if he was strong enough to protect her daughter, but as she rushed at him, she pretended to attack his head, but immediately flashed behind him, sweeping him down at that instant. As she wondered why he was fighting like a kid, she told him that even a newborn would move faster than his slow, worthless body. So she told him to prepare for her next attack, and Ark realized this was the first time he was fighting someone stronger than him, so he tried to study her techniques. However, as she flashed towards him, she swept him before he even knew it, and continued striking his body. By the time it was sunset, Ark was already exhausted from getting his face used as a mop. As he decided to fake a jab, he teleported behind her to strike her down, but she jabbed him with 100 strikes, sending him fall to the ground, and as he laid on the grass, he felt bad for letting Andrew Tate down, by losing to a woman. Inside the home, as Ark decided to soak up in a bath, he began wondering if Arian would join him in the showers. While in the living room, Arian began wondering if he got a good look at her plot region. But Ark was wondering why her cannons were so huge. Just then, Dylan began telling him that the elders have decided to hire him, hoping he could investigate the slave contract, and even free the rest of the captured elves. However, as they had no money to pay him with, Ark thought he couldn't work for these brokies. So when Dylan realized that he wasn't going to help them, he offered to give him directions to the sacred spring. This spring was rumored to have a special healing quality, and Dylan told him that it could even break his skeleton curse, as he thought it could be the answer to his prayers. Ark wondered how he would find the spring. So Dylan revealed that it was close to the Lord Crown, a rare dragon tree that houses the Dragon Lord. This tree was the secret pathway to finding the spring. But Arian told him that the dragon would obliterate every invader who disturbs the spirits inside the sacred spring. However, she thought they could be granted permission to enter, and was certain that it would guarantee their success, as she told him that she would be joining him inside. Ark wondered if she would finally warm his bone, and accepted immediately. When it was morning, they began their new journey through the forest, hoping to find the remaining elves in the trafficking contract. At the same time, Ark was glad to have discovered that he's a skeleton due to a curse, but wondered if the sacred spring would permanently heal his body. At night, they decided to have dinner inside an inn, but when Arian began suggesting they travel through the forest to reach their destination quicker, the innkeeper appeared before them, telling them that it was too dangerous. She revealed that haunted wolves have taken over the forest, and had even ate a few people for dinner. However, when she left, Arian suggested they continue as planned, so the next day, they continued their journey through the forest, and Arian revealed that she intends to collect the wolves' tails for her sister. She had discovered that their fur would make a beautiful veil, and thought it would be the perfect gift for her. Just then, the wolves appeared from the bushes, but as Ark slayed one of them, it vanished before his eyes, making him realize that it was an illusion. As Arian slashed illusion wolves, Ark managed to evade one, but another bit hard on his armor. The wolves could create multiple illusions as a distraction, and with a pack leader in command, Ark realized that everyone else would have become dinner. As more wolves flew at him, he slashed the illusions, but the last one bit on his armor. So as new wolves started running at Arian, she summoned fire, obliterating one of them. But when another tried sneaking up on her with multiple clones, she summoned earth spikes, killing them at the same time. The sight of it made Ark think she was impressive, so as he cast the wolves aside, he realized he could learn from her. However, the wolves would never be defeated while the pack leader was still alive, and as Ark spotted it at the top of the cliff, he teleported instantly, but it dodged his attack. As Ark noticed the mystical ring around its ankle, he realized that he had seen it on another monster, so he teleported again, but as the wolf flashed to his back, looking to end him, he blasted it with fire, before slicing the ring in half. At that moment, the wolf returned to its right mind, and roared for the others to retreat, so as Arian rejoined him, they watched the ring as it disintegrated, and wondered who could have created it. Just then, Arian remembered she needed wolf fur, and decided to get to work. Meanwhile, a princess was traveling through the forest, and began wondering if her brothers were part of the elf slave trade. She thought their greed would start a war with the elves, and wondered if it would destroy the kingdoms if either of them becomes king. Just then, the carriage rocked from a collision, and the guards began screaming from an attack. At that moment, Ponto sensed the danger, and began running towards the site, so Ark ran after him. As the carriage crashed into a tree, the attendant drew her sword, but as the door opened, a man slashed her instantly. With the princess in shock, she hurried out to help her, but was sent straight into Nirvana. While the low lives were celebrating their victory, Ponto jumped on one of the soldiers, but as he picked it easily, the commander told him to eliminate the fox. However, Ark seized his arm, and broke it at that instant, but as he decided to check the princess, the men started launching fireballs at him, but he was unscathed from all their attacks. Just then, the haunted wolves began to devour them, and as Ark noticed the pack leader, he drew his sword, and easily annihilated all the men. 1. After the wolves retreated deep into the forest, Ark decided to cast a regeneration spell, and as her wound closed up, the princess regained consciousness. Glad at this discovery, Ark decided to cast another regeneration spell on the attendant, and continued casting more spells to awaken the slain soldiers. By the time the princess woke up, her attendant told her that they must have been resurrected by a miracle, and the princess thought the miracle must have come from God himself. So when her soldiers were gathered, she began saying that God was on their side, and that they must continue on their journey no matter what. Meanwhile, Ark was watching from behind a bush, and began wondering if using his healing magic was a bad idea. Even though he had saved good people, He wondered if resurrecting them would make significant changes to the future. However, he decided to rejoin Arian, and discovered that she had already gathered all the fur. A few days later, as they eventually arrived at the city, an ugly bully bumped into Ark, but as the loser began thinking he could kick some ass, and returned to demand for money, and the girl poked his eyes, so as she challenged the others to attack at the same time, they decided to do so, but she threw them away immediately, and Ark realized she was stronger than she looks. Just then, she noticed their presence, and began asking if their mission to rescue the elves was successful, but as they heard those words, Ark realized she was the ninja he met. As she decided to reveal her face, she told him that she was proud of their success, and suggested they speak in private. However, as Arian began wondering who she is, Ark decided to reveal that she actually gave him the slave contracts, and the girl introduced herself as Shiomi. She said she was one of the Jinshin clan's 6 ninjas, and suggested they go to someplace quiet. After arriving inside an inn, Shiomi began wondering why Ark called her a ninja, seeing as no outsider of her clan had ever heard the word before, but he told her that he met a ninja once. Hearing his words, she thought he was from the same realm as their great founder, and Ark wondered if one loser had already reincarnated into this world before him. When Arian wondered why she intends to speak with them in private, she decided to ask for their help in rescuing her clansmen, offering to reveal the whereabouts of the remaining elves in exchange. However, Ark told her that he's already been hired to find the elves, but as he wondered if Arian was willing to offer her any help, she decided to accept. As they began heading to the slave market, Ark decided to ask Shiomi who the great founder was, so she told him that he was human, and said he had trained her clansmen who were taken as slaves in the empire. Through their training, they became the Jinkin clan, but as Ark heard these words, he realized that the great founder must have been very special to have created a legend for himself. He wondered if he could ever become one, but realized he's too much of a loser to ever achieve anything. As they arrived at the slave market, Shiomi told them that they would attack it at the same time. Meanwhile inside, the guards were wondering how much money they would make from the slaves, and hoped they would make the quota soon so that they would ship them off to another country. At the same time outside, Shiomi began revealing that reinforcements would arrive once they attacked the market, so to create a diversion, she suggested they attack the front gates, but soon began wondering if they would manage to escape before reinforcements show up. However, Ark told her that they would fight until the end, and revealed that he could easily teleport away once they were done. As Shiomi grew excited at his words, she began wondering if he was a space-time ninjutsu master, and thought they could save all her clansmen with his teleportation magic. Deciding to rejoin the rest of her comrades, she told them that they would attack once it was dark, and began jumping off the trees. So with the girl already gone, Ark suggested they make their own preparations, but his preparation was just another hopeless battle with food. As Arian gave him a taste of her meat, she told him that it was the meat from a dragonfly they came across a few days ago, but Ark thought she tasted delicious. After their dinner, Ark decided to wear an ugly mask in the forest, but she wondered if he was trying to make his already haunted face worse. She told him that he looks worse than a circus freak, and even Pona was traumatized at the sight of his new disgusting face. Just then, Shiomi arrived with her companion, and introduced him as Goemon, but as the dude approached Ark like he would knock out his teeth, they suddenly locked hands, and began fighting one another. With neither able to overpower the other, they decided to leap back, but as they rushed at each other this time, they decided to hug like brothers. The girls wondered if they had both lost their minds, but soon heard the sound of the ringing city bell. As they prepared for the invasion, Shiomi told Ark and Goemon to attack the front gate of the capital, but as they began walking towards the gate, the knights realized they were a threat, and drew their weapons immediately. Just then, Goemon summoned earth from the ground, and made it into large horns, so as he began charging at the gate, he blew it open immediately, looking to protect the capital. More soldiers began running at them, but Ark destroyed them immediately, before sending the others slamming into the wall. At the same time, Goemon decided to turn his body into steel, so as the men charged at him, their swords broke on his body. Hoping to draw out reinforcement, Ark decided to launch rocks at them, annihilating the men in an instant. So with the rest of them scared for their lives, Goemon summoned his rock spear out of the ground, sending the losers running away. Ark thought he was impressive, and decided to show off his own skill. So he summoned Rock Fang out of the ground, annihilating the men and even destroying the entire capital, before getting buried under the rubble. At the same time, Shiomi and Arian had climbed over the wall, and as they realized that enough soldiers had been summoned to the gate, they hurried towards the building. Just then, Shiomi managed to unlock the door, and they discovered that the guards were running to the front gate, so they began running down the hallway. However, Pawn began to growl, and they realized that a few men had spotted them, but as they charged at them, Shiomi summoned Liquid Wolf, and as it rose like a water tornado, the wolves eliminated them instantly. Realizing her technique was ninjutsu, Arian thought she was impressive, but as more guards began running at them, she drew a flame out of her sword, and blasted them with the fire. Before long, they arrived at the underground cell, and as Shiomi opened one of the cells, she freed the slaves, and commanded them to release the others. At the same time, more soldiers started running towards them, but Arian ended them with a single strike. Meanwhile outside, Ark eventually emerged from the rubble, and as Goemon also emerged, Ark realized that he managed to survive by turning his body into steel. Just then, he discovered that all the men have been killed, but as he began suggesting they find the girls, they appeared before them, saying that they've already freed the slaves. However, there was an extra building they intended to search, as they thought that more slaves were being held inside. To stop other reinforcements from intruding, Goemon told them that he would wait at the gate, so they ran towards the building immediately. As a guard tried to strike Arian, she slayed him before slashing another, and as Ark bashed two others, Shiomi summoned her Liquid Wolf technique, eliminating the rest of them. By the time they arrived into another underground cell area, Shiomi freed all the slaves, but after arriving at the last one, she discovered they were all dead. Meanwhile outside, Goemon decided to turn his body into steel, with more reinforcements having arrived, and in the building, they sensed the presence of the reinforcements, so Ark began teleporting the slaves outside, eventually saving all of them. Back at the front gate, the reinforcements realized that they couldn't kill Goemon, and as Ark teleported to his side for support, they thought they were completely screwed, so with Ark ready to destroy them, he summoned rock fangs out of the ground, and Goemon supported him with rock spears, wrecking the entire ground found at the same time. At the site of the destruction, Shiomi began wondering if they would survive, but Ark teleported before them at that instant, and they realized that he managed to save all the bodies to send their souls to Nirvana. Arian summoned fire to burn them, and as their flaming souls rose towards the sky, Shiomi vowed to become stronger so that she would protect the survivors.